for September 2010. I had written, "Together, you and Mommy experienced your first helicopter ride." You tried to make your appearance early at 32 weeks, but the docs held you off until just a couple of days before your scheduled arrival. Your soft little cry is so sweet. Your dad and I joke it's like a, excuse me if it's not too much trouble sort of cry. So like you kind of forget about those things, but then I'm so grateful that I wrote it down, and because I kind of remember that little tiny cry. Yeah, so we tease about that. We say, we're the only ones that have been in a helicopter ride before, Mama and Reagan. It was Friday, August the 13th, 2010. Having been through labor and delivery once before, I thought, oh gosh, something's not quite right. Jeremy drove straight to Stillwater Medical Center. Personnel came in the next morning and said, we can't get your labor to stop. If your baby ends up being born here, then she's gonna have to take a helicopter ride to a NICU because we don't have that available to us here. We would rather go ahead and send both of you and you can be together. Yeah, I think I was scared the whole time. There was a lot of leaning on others and leaning on others that I wasn't familiar with. Your caregivers are the ones that you're already familiar with, that you've already had appointments with, that you've already seen. There's a level of trust. Of course, there'd still be fear and anxieties and worries, but you'd have been home. You'd have been home. Stillwater's just a really special place. There's so much that our little town has. To see that extended to our medical community, that's important to want to be here and be a part of that.
So these are all our ornaments that we get every year for Christmas for Parker. I think this was probably our first ornament that we got from the NICU. When I found out I was pregnant, of course we were overjoyed because it was a long journey. We had tried for a couple of years and, no luck. So we went to in vitro. Getting that phone call was probably one of the most nerve-wracking phone calls ever, So to hear yes on the end, of the line was joyous. We found out quickly that we were pregnant with twins, and things were going well until they weren't. We lived in Tulsa, and we were fortunate to have a NICU down the street. The boys were born 12 weeks premature at 28 weeks. Roman was 2 pounds. Parker was 2 pounds, 4 ounces. No one prepares you for how small that is. We were in the NICU for 3 months, so we got to know every single person in that NICU building. And let me tell you something about NICU nurses. There's no one like them. Parker suddenly became ill and passed away at a month old. The nurses in there held our hand and walked us through every single step. Thank God we had Roman, because I didn't know if I was gonna get through those hard days, but having Roman kept me going. From the moment he was born, he has defied every single odd. Do you love your baby brother?
Yeah.
There's no one more resilient than Roman.
So we are currently in the process of building a new labor and delivery unit. Hopefully, we also are adding a level 2 NICU. Some of the time, we are probably sending babies to NICUs when they're not that sick, but we're afraid that they could get sicker. This will have an opportunity where they can be watched, they can get the interventions they need without having to go somewhere else. We know that that makes a huge difference. Your breastfeeding rates are going to be better, your bonding rates are going to be better. Just that connection with your child, that attachment is going to be better when you go home. It is really helping the caregivers. We look at this as a light for us, something for us to look forward to. It's going to help us all feel better and do our jobs better. That will help us recruit more physicians here, and that'll be wonderful.
Crazy story. When I was little on TLC, there's a show called My Birthing Story. And I just loved that these nurses got to deliver babies and be with the moms and be with their support. And I just realized, you know what? I think I want to do nursing. I started at Stillwater Medical, and that's where I've been since then. I love what I do. Every day is a new day, and I get to love on babies from the moment they're born. Being able to bring a new life into the world and see them take their first breath is just perfect. Words can't even describe how amazing it is. When we found out about Callie, I was in my 20th-ish week of pregnancy. We went in, we did an ultrasound, she was all there, all girl. And then my next appointment, we found out that my cervix was dilated, and so we had to go straight to Mercy. They had what I needed, they had high risk, but I wasn't going to be with my doctor. I was going to be with my coworkers that, I've always dreamed of them taking care of me. That was hard, just knowing that, I'm going somewhere new. Having your baby in the NICU, I wanted to see her every day, but I couldn't. That was rough. I knew, she was still there and she was in great hands and it was okay. But it would have been nice to have something closer. Daughters needed this for a long time, and if it doesn't come together, we're going to be losing a lot of patients. The NICU at Stillwater means you get to be closer to your kids.
I want the heart of a NICU nurse here in Stillwater. The heart of 10 NICU nurses here in Stillwater. For us to have that here in our community is a must. It's past time to have it here.
Being able to have a NICU here would make my mom heart feel so much more comfortable. And it doesn't just help the hospital, it helps everybody.
We drive by the hospital all the time, right? My girls will ask, is that where I was born? And I'll say, yeah, that's where you were born. And there's even something in my girls that know when they drive by that's special to them. To look over and know that there's a place where babies can safely be if they're born early and where families can stay together. It would be really special to point over there and know that people are continuing to be cared for well here.
Will this save lives?
Yes. And it will make a difference in the world.